The O.I.E. has been creating global standards for animal welfare since the late 1990s, and over the last 5 years has been working on animal welfare and laying hens. The question is, what are the implications of this O.I.E. standard for egg producers in Brazil? The short answer is none at the moment, as the chapter failed to be approved at the O.I.E. General Session in May. The longer answer is, it depends on what the O.I.E. decides to do next. Will they continue to push for standards on laying hens? Or will they decide it's not their immediate priority as they deal with issues raised by the coronavirus pandemic? If the O.I.E. continues to push for a global laying hen standard, the egg industry has to make a key decision. But before I go any further, I want to recognise the fantastic contribution and commitment made to the whole process over a long time by you, the Brazilian egg industry. In particular, Jose Eduardo dos Santos and Asgav have provided a crucial link between the Brazilian egg industry and the whole decision-making process, ensuring that the voice of egg farmers in Brazil is heard at the O.I.E. in Paris. Your contribution has made a huge difference when the global egg industry came together 2 years ago to overturn the O.I.E. proposal excluding conventional cages completely from their proposed standard. Brazil was there supporting the egg industry. Thank you for everything you did. It was vital. In terms of our own organisation, the International Egg Commission is part of the World Egg Organisation, the only global egg organisation, the only organisation at all that entirely dedicated to representing you. It is run by egg producers for the benefit of egg producers, with egg industry members in over 75 countries. On behalf of egg producers around the world, the IEC represents your interests to international bodies that have an impact on our industry, including the World Health Organization, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the Consumer Goods Forum, and of course the O.I.E., the World Animal Health Organization. The O.I.E. is particularly relevant to the egg industry as they not only set international standards for overseeing the prevention and control of avian influenza, but they also set recommended standards for the welfare of laying hens. The O.I.E. only deals with national governments or international organisations, which is why the IEC has an agreement with the O.I.E. on your behalf and is recognised as the representative of the global egg industry. As a result of this agreement, IEC has direct, open communication with the key O.I.E. leaders and decision makers. As I mentioned, there is nothing new in O.I.E. producing standards for animal welfare. Indeed, some of the earliest standards related to transport of animals and slaughter for disease control have applied to the global egg industry for many years. After these initial standards, the O.I.E. turned to each individual livestock sector, successfully adopting several standards, including for poultry meat and for dairy. In fact, laying hens are the last major sector that O.I.E. has considered. So, what was the current O.I.E. standard? What was proposed? The O.I.E. began working on a draft standard for laying hen welfare back in 2016. Because the O.I.E. recognises International Egg Commission as the voice of the global egg industry, we were able to nominate a scientist to sit on the O.I.E. scientific group to watch over the initial draft standard. IEC has always worked to ensure that O.I.E. standards are acceptable to the egg industry, and crucially, to ensure that standards are inclusive of all production systems, and that each country and each region has the freedom to use the system that is most suited to their own individual situation. Ultimately, the O.I.E.'s Code Commission is responsible for the final wording, which is voted on by each national chief veterinary officer at the O.I.E. General Session in May. The draft standard was put for adoption in May this year and was certainly a significant improvement on the initial proposal from 2 years ago, which entirely excluded conventional cage production. However, with this year's wording, there was still real concern that the O.I.E. proposal was against the conventional cage, with nest boxes, perches, dust bathing and scratching areas all included as desirable. This was a particular problem in the Spanish translation. Another problem area was the use of the phrase motivated behaviours, which was also seen to disadvantage conventional cage production systems. So what was the outcome of the vote? The O.I.E. proposal proved to be highly contentious during the O.I.E. General Session, which ultimately led to a formal vote on Friday, the 28th of May. The O.I.E. process requires a 2/3 majorities for standards to be adopted, but only 46% of countries supported adoption, with 35% formally objecting and 19% abstaining. So why did people oppose? Well, there are two key groups who opposed the O.I.E. standard, and for completely different reasons. The European Union position is that the proposed standards were too weak, as they did not ban conventional cages, and this conflicts with domestic policy in the EU and has an impact on their competitiveness during trade. It's worth remembering that the preamble to the World Trade Organization agreement notes that WTO expects trading partners to abide by animal welfare standards set by O.I.E. The other people who were opposed were many countries from the rest of the world, as they believe the proposed standards were too restrictive and were a threat to the future of production in their country. So the situation today is there is no change at the moment. For now, we continue without an international standard on animal welfare and laying hens, with each government and each region making its own independent decisions. So what next? Over the coming weeks, the O.I.E. will decide if it wants to continue to push for international laying hen welfare standards or not. The egg industry in general has never opposed the principle of having a global standard. The International Egg Commission has always said that any global standard must include all systems of egg production. Egg producers around the world continue to make improvements year on year, adopting new technology and updating ways of working to improve bird health and welfare. Right now, the egg industry has a strategic decision to make, a very important decision. Do we simply accept that there is no current international standard? If we do this, there's a risk that the O.I.E. returns to layer welfare in the future, and that the conventional cage will be excluded completely? Or, on the other hand, do we push and support O.I.E. making a global standard which includes all systems of production and gives each country choice to implement the best system for their situation? It is important to remember that O.I.E. standards do not automatically become law in each individual country. That is up to each national government to decide. However, by being a member of the O.I.E., as is Brazil, each country makes a commitment to adopt O.I.E. standards. Additionally, O.I.E. standards can also be used by lobby groups to put pressure on international and large national customers, those customers who've got big brand names. So although O.I.E. standards are not an automatic law, they do set the direction of national animal health and welfare laws and are an important signal to what is going to happen next. Again, I would like to thank you all for the amazing effort you, the egg producers of Brazil, the egg industry of Brazil, has put into working on global standards for animal welfare. That's been a huge commitment by you all, and I urge you to continue working on this issue. I believe this is far from the end of the journey, and we will do everything to keep supporting the global egg industry. Thank you.